Yeah.
I don't even have all my facts right.
I know, but here we are at CHUMUCKLA Springs. It don't matter if you have your facts right. This is the war, 1813. 1814, they came down here.
December 1814. Andrew Jackson is heading with the main army over to defend New Orleans from the British. But he's worried about the Creek Indians, the Red Sticks in this area, so he sends 1,000 backup teams to do mopping up operations in Pensacola, West Florida, scour the Escambia River all the way over to Holmes Creek and Choctawhatchee to find Indians and transport them back to the United States. The person leading this group is a guy named Uriah Blue, and one of the groups of people there are Tennessee Volunteers with a guy named William Russell, and under him Davy Crockett, Davy Crockett. And so in December 1814, they're actually wading across with their horses, getting across the Escambia River, basin, all that area, and they end up coming through CHUMUCKLA, finding a couple Indians here. They actually see the remains of a Spanish family being scalped and killed by the Indians. And Jackson saw that the friendly Indians were with him, and they ran across a group of Creeks that were killed, and the Indians took clubs and beat the heads of the Indians. And then Crockett said, well, I'm going to do the same thing. So he took club and beat them like that, and the Indians patted his back and said, warrior, warrior, like that.
And here we are. All this happened at CHUMUCKLA.
Yes, all of it, and this just within a space of 5 miles around us. Big international incident.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
without authorization of the U.S. government either.
But they had their blue light flashing, didn't they?
Well,
couldn't they cross the state line with a blue light flashing?
Hot pursuit, the theory of hot pursuit. Plus, you got to remember, all this is taking place in the War of 1812. We're finding the outside enemy and the Creek Wars going on. It just ended, so we got all this going on. We got the British stirring up things in neutral Spanish Florida. They're training Indians in the streets of Pensacola, putting red coat uniforms on them. The White House has just been torched a few months before. Relations and communications are very sparse. Jackson's basically doing the best thing he could under the circumstances. So it might have been questionably legal, but you got to do what you got to do to protect. If he had not invaded Pensacola in November of 1814, he would not discovered about the Spanish knew about the British were taking a huge army in Jamaica, and they're about to launch an attack on the Gulf Coast. So it's down in Pensacola that he discovers that they're bound for New Orleans. So that's how he gets to New Orleans and beats them right at the last minute. So it's amazing how things work together.
And a lot of people don't even put two and two together and realize that this was happening at the time of the Battle of New Orleans, all these things going on. So
while Jackson went on to glory in New Orleans, Uriah Blue and Davy Crockett, they're basically doing mopping up operations in brutally cold winter, and it was freezing. There was not enough grass and forage for the horses. The horses are starving. I mean, they actually had to talk about shooting their horses and collecting food, squirrels and stuff, trying to stay alive. It was bad. And they got all the way over to like Holmes Creek in present-day Washington County and made their way back over here to CHUMUCKLA, and there was they're starving, and there was a settler here. I want to say it was Marshall, but I can't remember the exact name of the settler right offhand. But the U.S. troops bought a bunch of his beef cattle. Well, the next day, his remaining beef cattle, 3 of them were missing. So he complained to the U.S. forces, how, you're not supposed to be pillaging everything. And so they started doing a search of the camp, and they found that the missing beef had been stolen by this guy named Steele, of all things. This guy, a sub-lieutenant or something like that named Steele. Well, according to the account, Uriah Blue had him paddled, which I guess they just paddled him. They tied kettles around him, set him adrift around CHUMUCKLA here in a canoe, and disappeared down the Escambia River. That was his punishment.
Whoa!
Yeah.
We don't know what happened to him.
Well, years later, I think I found him as a procurement officer, a quartermaster or something. He might be the same guy. He was still in trouble. So.
And they could have saved themselves all that trouble if they just crossed over the river right here and going over to Highway 29 and going south. They'd have found Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel was right there.
Our friends.
All right. Thank you. This is a good little introduction to CHUMUCKLA Springs. Here we are. What a great little intro. Okay, people, you learned something.